Hello, everyone, and welcome to the sixth episode of the Nothing to See Here podcast. It's Frankie. Hello.
It's Hannah.
And I'm in crippling depression.
Gonna start the episode off hot then, I see.
Yeah.
All right. Can you give us your name though as well?
Oh, yeah, that would probably be helpful.
It would be.
No, I think we should call her Crippling Depression
For the entire
for the rest of the episode.
My name is Crippling Depression. The episode name is also Crippling Depression.
Absolutely not. No, I have a fun episode planned.
I'm excited because you haven't told us what it is yet.
Because he figured it out
on Friday.
On Friday.
Wow.
Sorry. Yeah, what's your name?
Amanda.
Yeah, hi Amanda.
Hi.
Listen, I was between two things, and one of them I really wanted to do because I thought it would be fun, but I want to save it. I want to bank that and wait until a while out before I do that. So I had the second one in mind, and as I was asking a friend of mine which episode I should do, and they agreed that this one would be the better episode, so I could save this other one and pull it out as a surprise later on. So, a little background for the episode that we're about to do. I am a lawyer. One of the classes that every lawyer has to take is contracts. We have to learn about contract law.
So you're gonna be like Ursula.
Yeah. Hey, funny you bring that up. When we were prepping for one of our finals, the professor used Ursula as an example of
Dope.
was this a
I love
contract, and then analyze how this is a contract and what the terms are.
Was
It is
it?
a contract. Yes.
It
Was it?
is. It is a contract. Yes,
I was gonna
It's
say
legally binding.
it is a legally binding contract because, as I was going to say later in a minute, there are three requirements for a contract. Three basic requirements. There are a lot more details that you could be told about, but the three basic details for a contract: you need offer, acceptance, and consideration. And if you have all three of those things, then you have a contract. There are other ways for there to not be a contract, and other minute rules that you might have to look at. But
by contract, because the Little Mermaid, Ariel, was a minor and not capable of signing a contract. She wasn't a legal adult.
we don't know what the rules are under the ocean.
yeah, suck that, Mom.
16
By the
could
way-
be considered an adult.
By the way, be quiet, Peanut Gallery.
I thought she was 14.
That's
No, she's
Snow
16.
White. Snow
Yeah,
White
she
is
is.
14.
She is 16.
She explicitly states that in the film.
Yeah. I'm
it's true.
16, Dad.
So we're going to be talking about contract law, not specifically contract law. We're going to talk about a case that everyone should learn about in contract law. Leonard v. Pepsico.
Oh, Jesus.
Do you know what that is? Do you know what it is, Amanda?
I've heard of it, yes.
You heard of Leonard v. Pepsico? What is it?
I
Share with the class.
don't. Okay, so I may be wrong here, because to be fair, I got this off of Reddit, and
Where all
mean-
good information comes from.
Mhm.
so it's basically it states that like an advertisement would normally be considered like when an advertisement is so absurd that a reasonable person literally can't consider it to be serious.
Oh,
Right.
you're giving me the entire crux of the case. Yeah, that is what
I just wanted the
ruling
punchline.
came
Oh,
out with. I thought you were gonna give me the what the case is about.
oh no, that's what I go on to legal advice on Reddit
Okay.
just because there's funny shit on there.
Well, speaking of advertisements, this just play into it, but this case focuses on offer and acceptance, not as much consideration, because consideration is technically there. But this one does constitute what is a legitimate offer and what is just a joke. Advertisements, which are a big part of this case, I should introduce the case though. for Hannah. I don't know if Hannah's heard about this.
I
and Amanda
do
does
know
not
the
remember.
case. I do know the case. Once
Yeah.
Amanda started going, I thought I knew, but then Amanda definitely confirmed my suspicions. It's the dude who wanted a fighter jet because Pepsi showed one in a commercial and said if you get like 1,000,000 Pepsi points, you can have a fighter jet.
Yes, that's what this case is. So
Yes.
I'm going to explore all the actual details behind the case, what the ruling was, some of the impact afterwards, and what's happened to Leonard. What's Leonard up to? What
He
his
died.
name is? He didn't die. He did not die. He
He's
did not
still
die.
alive.
Still alive.
Damn
But
it.
what's Leonard up to after all this happened? But advertisements are generally not offers. So when you see a commercial on TV, they're not, or even in a paper, an advertisement, they're generally not an offer that you can accept. An offer is something that gives the hearer or the viewer the power to accept it and create a contract. Unless the advertisement is very specific. So if the advertisement says the first person to come into this store gets this jacket for 50% off. If you are the first person to come into the store, you accepted that contract or that offer and created a contract as long as you pay the price.
I've never heard an advertisement like that.
It's not a great advertisement if you're running a business, but that is the example that my professor used in class to
Here we
show
go.
the level of specificity that you would need. And by the way, if you guys have any like actual questions about the legal stuff, if I do remember it, I will answer. Or maybe I'll just give you some bullshit.
You know what? To be fair, I wouldn't even know it was bullshit or not.
I could make it
have
sound
to,
professional.
I have to take literally everything you say, like it's actually like you're telling me the truth because I don't know any better. Although my mother here, who is Miss Peanut Gallery today, is a paralegal, so
Let's paint the picture. We're in the mid-90s.
of course we are.
Pepsi was
This
this what?
before all of you guys were born. How does that make you feel?
This was in 1996, yes.
How does that make you feel?
I don't know. How does that make you feel?
Old. Fucking old.
Yeah, I don't really feel anything about it because
I don't,
wasn't
you
here.
have to hit me with something like children born in 2000 are 23 years old this year, and then I feel old.
Nah, even then I'm like,
No.
I'm with Hannah on that one. That does make me feel old.
Uh-huh. Yep.
You know what makes me feel old? When people say they were born in 2000 and then they go, and?
No.
2001? I'm like, that can't be real.
No, that
yeah,
is a 2-year-old
you
in
know
my
why that
eyes.
upsets me? Because you should just be like, I was born in 2002, right?
That doesn't upset me as much. I like my example better.
The and is unnecessary.
Just
in that.
hearing I was born in 2000 doesn't matter what comes after.
You say
Just
two,
2000.
and Hannah gets like upset immediately. Mid-90s, Pepsi is in the middle of the cola wars with Coke.
The Cold War?
The cola
Oh.
wars.
I was gonna say. I was
And-
like, gee, it's a little intense here. Let's
Yeah.
tone it down, Pepsi.
And Pepsi is trying to attract a younger audience, younger consumer base, so they can stay competitive. So in March of 1990, what was that? Sorry.
I was gonna say this is peak commercial time.
It
Like
is.
90s and like early 2000s commercials are so unhinged in the best way.
Yes, they are. This one very unhinged when I get to the
Yeah,
description.
it's great. It's great.
So in March of 1996, Pepsi begins their Pepsi Stuff campaign. Customers would be able to get Pepsi points by purchasing Pepsi products with labels attached to them. And then they could redeem these points for t-shirts, sunglasses, leather jackets, things like that. Some of the prices that I was able to find is that you could redeem 60 points for a hat and 400 points for a denim jacket.
Who would want a Pepsi denim jacket?
Didn't Kylie Jenner wear a denim jacket in her little Pepsi commercial?
But it wasn't a Pepsi branded denim jacket. It was just a denim jacket.
Oh, it had to be a Pepsi brand of. God,
I assume it would be Pepsi
I
branded.
was just going to assume it has the logo on it.
Yeah.
Gross.
But there was a little loophole that Mr. Leonard later on would take advantage of. Points could be purchased for 10 cents per point.
Jesus Christ.
This was the largest campaign that Pepsi had ever run in the history of the company up to this point. They were pushing a lot of their chips in on this being successful.
And
so they started airing television commercials.
Oh, God.
And in the lawsuit, they describe one of the commercials in this way. The Harrier jet is not yet visible, but the observer senses the presence of a mighty plane as the extreme winds generated by its flight create a paper maelstrom in a classroom devoted to an otherwise dull physics lesson. Finally, the Harrier jet swings into view and lands by the side of the building, bombing everything in sight next to a bicycle rack.
Jesus.
Several students run for cover, and the velocity of the winds strips one faculty member down to his underwear. The teenager opens the cockpit of the fighter and can be seen helmetless, holding a Pepsi. Looking very pleased with himself, the teenager exclaims, "Sure beats the bus," and chortles. The military drum roll sounds a final time as the following words appear: Harrier fighter, 7 million Pepsi points. A few seconds later, the following appears in more stylized script: drink Pepsi, get stuff. While the faculty member is deprived of his dignity, the voiceover announces, now the more Pepsi you drink, the more great stuff you're gonna get.
Including a fighter jet.
Real quick, this would not go down. Did I hear bomb?
Yes, you heard.
Remember,
Lands by the side of the school building, bombing everything in sight next to a bicycle rack. Now, here's the thing. I did watch the commercial. The fighter jet does not bomb everything in sight, but that's what the lawyer wrote in the lawsuit.
And also remember, this was 96. So 9/11, long ways away still.
I wasn't even referring to 9/11, just all of the fucking mass shootings and shit we've been dealing with.
So
I mean, also
saying is that for $700,000 you could buy a fighter jet.
Well,
many points.
We're gonna get to that. So the jet shown in the commercial is a McDonnell Douglas AV-8B Harrier II jump jet, which is a ground attack aircraft used by the Spanish and Italian navies and the United States Marine Corps. They come with a 25 millimeter 5-barreled rotary gun and can be equipped with rockets, air-to-air missiles, air-to-surface missiles, cluster bombs, laser-guided bombs, and fire bombs.
Does all that come with the 7 million Pepsi points, or do I have to use separate Pepsi points?
Well, I think they all come with the first one, and then if you want like extra bombs, that's extra Pepsi points.
Okay. Like 1 million extra Pepsi points?
Yeah, I think 1 million for just like a barrel of them, like a crate.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
Jesus Christ.
So the commercial and the Harrier jet especially caught the attention of 21-year-old business student John Leonard and his friend Todd Hoffman. Todd Hoffman is the differentiating factor between everyone else who saw the commercial and John Leonard. Hoffman in the 90s was in his 40s and a millionaire who met Leonard on a mountaineering trip. So he had money and he had friends that had money. John Leonard, watching the ad, realized that buying 7 million cans, because each individual can or bottle came with 1 point, buying 7 million cans of Pepsi was cost prohibitive if you wanted a jet.
Right.
So Leonard and Hoffman had 15 points. They then convinced investors, they got a group of investors together to lend them $700,000 to purchase the rest of the points.
I want rich friends.
As per promotion rules, Leonard sent the 15 labels and a check for $700,008.50, including an extra $10 for shipping and handling.
Yes, because we all know that it costs, what, $10 to ship a fighter jet.
Yeah, that's it. It's
What
very
a
easy to
bargain.
ship. Yeah.
What a bargain.
It sent all of that to Pepsi, requesting the points be cashed in for the Harrier jet.
Frankie,
Yes.
how much does one of these jets cost?
That is something that is here. Yes, that's something that is addressed
Okay,
later on in the lawsuit.
okay. I
Why?
want to know how much of a deal this is.
Oh, you'll learn. You'll learn in a
I know
minute.
it's a deal, but I
It's
want
a-
to know. I
It's a
want to know.
fantastic deal.
Yeah,
It's the world's best deal.
extreme couponers could never.
At the time of the lawsuit, when this was all happening, Leonard was interviewed by some news, and he said, people say, well, didn't you just want a t-shirt? And I say, well, when there's a Harrier out there for 7 million Pepsi points, why not aim your sights a little higher?
That's fair.
And before we all go thinking that John Leonard's just a 21-year-old student who's a bit of an idiot and
I
stupid,
do think that. I do think that.
he didn't rush into this without giving it some thought. Before he came up with this entire idea to get
A fighter jet?
a fighter jet, well, to get financing for the fighter jet,
Did
He
he,
called-
get a pilot license?
no, he called the Pentagon to check if a civilian could legally acquire a Harrier jet because it's a military weapon. And he was told,
coming soon, which meant that it actually hadn't occurred yet.
Would you be quiet? I'm trying to listen to Frankie.
did what say coming soon? The ad for Pepsi points?
The ad,
yeah.
yes.
No, the ad was advertising Pepsi points happening then.
Yes, but it said about the fighter jet coming soon, correct?
No.
Oh, it actually listed it at that point in time for 700,000.
It had it listed as 7 million Pepsi points. Because the ad, throughout the ad, it shows the kid wearing different merch. And it shows you, as like he puts on the merch, it shows you how many points each thing costs.
Hold on.
Can I say now also that there was like no asterisk or fine print saying this is a joke? You can't
Yes.
get this.
Nothing
I
in
think
the
that's
ad
also
said
important.
that. That is very important. Nothing indicated that Pepsi was like, oh, this is a joke. Just kidding. But he called the Pentagon, and they said that a civilian could legally acquire a Harrier jet as long as the aircraft was stripped of any armaments. And the plan that Leonard had pitched to the investors was that they would rent out the plane to air shows and movie and TV studios who wanted to use it for any shoots. So they had a plan of what to do after they acquired it.
Smart.
They were going to make back the money and ideally start making profit off of the jet.
And of course, it's a great deal when you're convincing investors that you're going to pay $700,000. Here it is, Hannah.
Oh, thank you.
For
Yes,
a jet that at
Mhm.
the time was worth $23 million.
Oh my god.
Oh.
In today's money, that's still a lot now, but in today, that's $37.4 million.
Extreme couponers could never get
That's
a
a
better deal.
great deal.
Yeah.
A $23 million jet for under $1 million
I'm speechless.
and only $10 shipping and handling.
That's the part that gets me. man.
He included it. He had to.
What a nice guy.
So he made the offer. Pepsi, he sent the check in, and Pepsi said, no, we're not giving you a fucking jet. And they
But
said the intention was to create a humorous and entertaining ad. You can't buy a jet from PepsiCo.
but they lied.
Did they lie?
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, the case is called Leonard v. PepsiCo, which indicates that Leonard is the plaintiff. But Leonard did not file the first lawsuit. Leonard threatened to sue Pepsi if they didn't sell him the fighter jet.
Good.
So Pepsi responded by filing a lawsuit seeking a declaratory judgment that it had no obligation to furnish Leonard with a Harrier jet. Leonard then sued Pepsi a month later for breach of contract and fraud.
Good.
Good.
And
yeah.
just like you two, at the time, the man on the street seemed to be on his side. In a newspaper article I found from 1996, one man said, I think he should get the jet. Another young boy said, if he drank that much Pepsi, he probably should.
Bless
And-
that child. Bless
and
that
then-
child.
Another man said, maybe he's goofy, but I mean, they are making those claims. If they can't back them up, then they shouldn't be putting them on air.
I mean, I think that one hits the nail on the head.
Even an
Yeah.
advertising executive at the time believed that Pepsi obviously wasn't saying that they were going to sell the public a Harrier jet, but that Pepsi should take advantage of this opportunity, give Leonard a tour across the country in a Harrier jet, and turn that into a new advertising campaign.
That's ingenious.
That is really smart.
Yes,
Yeah.
that is. Yes.
Pepsi did not do that. They went in full fucking throttle. Lawsuit, baby. We're
And
suing
this is
you.
this is why they are not superior to Coke.
This is why Coke is better. You're right.
Coke would
I
have given him
actually
the jet.
I like the taste. I like the taste of Pepsi better than I like the taste of Coke, if
You're
I'm
wrong.
honest.
You're incorrect in that.
But I like the taste of Diet Coke better than I like the taste of Diet Pepsi.
Diet Coke's the greatest drink God ever created. So
I thought that was Mountain Dew, Frankie.
Yeah.
Mountain Dew is not really a drink. I think it's just like some nuclear fluid that got leaked out, and they're selling it to
Fun
people.
fact, Mountain Dew, one of the main ingredients is orange juice.
I don't believe that. I can't believe.
No,
there's
that is
real-
true. You can look on a Mountain Dew bottle or can.
I can't believe that there's real juice in that thing.
I can. It tastes like
Okay,
it.
you got me there, but it says orange juice as one of the main ingredients.
Do you know Mountain Dew was originally sold? We're getting off track a little bit, but Mountain Dew was originally sold as a mix-in for like moonshine. That's why it's called.
That doesn't surprise me. Oh, so I apologize if anyone can hear my dogs barking in the background.
I think dogs barking in the background add character to a podcast,
Oh,
and
good.
people will wonder, is that a dog? And then they'll listen harder.
And then they will demand pictures of my dogs.
What does having a mother in the background do?
Well, she adds fun commentary, so it's fine.
Does she?
Yeah.
Yes, she does.
So
Little bitch.
Pepsi offered to settle the suit for somewhere between $750,000 and $1 million, depending on which side you ask. Leonard will tell you it was 750. Pepsi will tell you it was $1 million.
I believe Leonard.
But Leonard did refuse the settlement. So before we get to the real court, however, we do have to take a little detour because Netflix put out a documentary about this, a 4-part documentary
When?
in 2022.
This documentary is the only reason I know this case.
Yes,
It's a good documentary.
it is very good. I'd recommend it. And
Cindy Crawford makes an appearance in it.
because she was part of the Pepsi campaigns at the time. Cindy Crawford, Michael Jackson were all big names that had advertised for Pepsi. Cindy Crawford did a Super Bowl commercial for Pepsi.
So did Pink, Beyonce, and Britney Spears.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they didn't do that in the 90s.
No, Cindy Crawford's Pepsi ad was where she's at a vending machine and that's actually a classic ad. She's at a
Mhm.
vending machine getting a
I'm
Pepsi.
surprised you don't know this, Amanda.
Yeah, and little boys are like staring at her, or you
Um,
think they're staring at her, but they're really staring at the Pepsi.
Yeah.
Because Pepsi is sexier than Cindy Crawford.
Okay, so I just got really confused for a minute. I now know who we're talking about when we say Cindy Crawford. For some reason,
Who
I
did
was
you think?
picturing Cindy Lauper.
Oh my god. Well, one, that's not her name. Say that again. Say that name again. Say it again.
Cindy Lauper?
Yeah, you added a D at the end of the name earlier. You
Yeah.
said Cindy Laupered. I was gonna get you I got that so fast. I was ready to pounce.
I was just imagining the girls just want to have fun singer. Just getting a Pepsi.
Pepsi, if you're listening, you should get Cindy Lauper to recreate Cindy Crawford's Super Bowl commercial.
Yeah. Or find Cindy Laupered, whoever she is,
Yeah.
and she can do
And,
it.
wait, we could be the little kids.
We
Fuck
could do,
off.
yeah, we could be the little kids.
Yes.
I hate you all.
Anyway,
I would like a fighter jet in compensation for this, though, Pepsi.
yeah, a Harrier jet. A
Yes.
Harrier jet. Leonard, in an interview preparing for this, revealed a very funny story that I'm about to share.
Oh no.
That for the promise of $250, he almost blew the entire opportunity of suing Pepsi.
Why?
Obviously, when Pepsi is being sued over a fighter jet, it's going to make the news.
Uh-huh.
And Leonard was invited to appear on the replacement show for the People's Court, an unknown project at the time. Eventually, that project would go on to become Judge
The
Judy.
People's Court? Oh my God! Fuck! Oh, I love Judge Judy.
Yes, Leonard appeared on Judge Judy on one of the pilot episodes. I don't think it ever aired, and the documentary did try to get the footage that they filmed, but the company that runs Judge Judy, whatever that's called, refused, or no, they didn't refuse, but they set such a high price that Netflix couldn't justify paying for it.
That's so dumb. I would totally.
But Leonard describes the situation as very low brow, calling the early Judge Judy set more like an outhouse.
Oh. Maybe that's why.
Leonard made his case for the cameras, unaware that at the point maybe, or maybe he was aware, but that if the show's then unknown judge, Judith Sheindlin, sorry.
How dare make fun of me saying what's her face's last name wrong. You just said Judge Judy's last name wrong?
Does anyone what do you call her? What do you call her?
Judith Sheindlin.
No.
Last name. Shame on you, Frankie, for that.
All right.
Every time you watch Judge Judy, it says you are now in the courtroom of Judge Judith Sheindlin.
You want to know how many times I've watched Judge Judy?
Obviously, you didn't stay home from school a lot because
I did stay home from school, and you know what I was watching instead of Judge Judy? I was watching PBS Kids. No, PBS Kids. I was watching Cyber Chase. I was watching Fetch with Ruff Ruffman.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what's wrong with Frankie. PBS Kids. I always wondered. Now I know. Okay, cool.
Yeah, I watched educational TV.
I watched Cartoon Network.
I watched Cartoon Network too, but I love Cyber Chase. You don't tell me you didn't like that show? You didn't watch that show?
Is that the one where they go into the computer and the bad guy's like the computer guy? He has like a weird goatee thing.
Yeah, and they do math.
Yeah, fuck that show. That's
show
why
great.
I don't like it.
Fuck. Oh, get ready for my next episode.
I'll leave.
Anyway, for appearing on the show, you got $250.
Mm-hmm.
But the risk is, if Judge Judy ruled against him, he would have broadcast the weaknesses of his case. Turns out, Judge Judy ruled in favor of John. However, the courtroom show had such a tiny budget at the time that Leonard was told his travel expenses negated the nominal appearance fee, and he walked away with nothing but a free trip to California.
I thought it was filmed in New York.
At the time, it was not. So he just got a trip to California, and the episode never actually aired.
That surprises me. I feel like that would have been like
if you want to get
pilot episode, because you already have like the momentum from this case. Like I think this is pretty like. Forgive me if I'm wrong, but is this a national like news story at this point?
It would have been, and
because I mean, if Judge Judy heard about it, yes.
I think the reason why it didn't is because it ended up in federal court.
And Judge Judy doesn't handle federal cases.
Yes. So Pepsi moved for when the case got moved into federal court. Pepsi moved for summary judgment,
which is.
Thank you for asking. That's when the decision is made based on the legal statements and evidence without actually going to trial.
That's dumb.
It's granted when, in the process of a civil suit, all lawyers will file a motion. Well, most competent lawyers will file a motion for summary judgment. And it's granted by the judge when one party is entitled to judgment as a matter of law. So that means there's either no dispute about the facts or the disputed facts, which have to be resolved in favor of the non-moving party, the party not seeking summary judgment, shows that as a matter of law, the party looking for summary judgment is entitled to relief, even with the balance being skewed towards the other party, the other side.
Mhm.
That there's just no way that the facts can be interpreted, or that the law can help these facts be interpreted in a way that helps the other party. Leonard argued that the case should not be dismissed in summary judgment,
Yeah.
and instead it should move to a jury trial,
Mhm.
and that a decision must be made by a jury consisting of members of the Pepsi generation.
That would be good.
Pepsi argued, on the other hand,
Of
that
course
of
they
the
do.
millions of people that watched the ad, only one of them actually tried to purchase a jet.
Because they didn't have rich friends.
Yeah, they had to drink like 7 million bottles of Pepsi.
Yeah,
You
they
are
didn't have
right.
rich friends.
Leonard did argue against it. He said that the only reason he actually heard about the ad and watched it later on TV was that a father at the Little League team that he coached mentioned that he was part of a jet buying consortium trying to purchase the Pepsi Harrier jet.
So middle-aged adults
Yes.
were trying to purchase the jet, not a 20-something-year-old.
Yeah.
Yes.
Middle-aged adults.
Leonard said the only thing about him that was unique, as you said, is that he had Hoffman, a millionaire with the same renegade attitude as himself.
Yeah, he had rich friends.
Hoffman has gone on to describe Leonard, and this gives you a little hint at their relationship. He looks all serious and he looks conservative, but he's insane. He's certifiably insane. He holds a job. He has a beautiful family. He has a house and pays a mortgage and goes to work every day, but he's got some real mental things going on.
Noted.
2 friends right there. I don't know if that helps you in a case.
No, I wouldn't.
Your
Well,
best
he was
friend
saying
goes,
that now.
he's certifiably insane.
Would you
He
say
was
that
saying
about
that
me?
now, not during the court
That
case.
I know. What'd you say, Amanda?
Would you say that about me?
I wouldn't say you're certifiably insane, no.
Just checking.
Why? Would you say that about me?
No.
Thanks.
You're the normal one, Frankie.
Yeah, I'm the fucked up one.
If it makes you feel any better, Amanda, I would say you had a few screws loose.
Does that make you feel better, or?
I think it does. She's smiling.
Okay. This is, I want to remind you, Amanda, this is an audio format, so just smiling doesn't get anything across to anybody.
I was debating what to say. And
I think a
peanut
simple
gallery,
thank you will suffice.
I
Yeah.
wasn't gonna say. Now I'm definitely not saying thank you.
I'll say thank you, Hannah. Thank you.
Thank you, Hannah.
You're welcome. You're welcome, Peanut Gallery.
Judge Kimba Marine Wood did not allow the Pepsi generation to make a decision
That's bull.
and granted summary judgment. The court said the commercial featuring the jet did not constitute an offer, and that no reasonable person could believe the company would sell a jet worth $23 million for $700,000.
Really?
There was no asterisk.
And furthermore, the written the value of the contract at $700,000 meant that a written contract would be required, and no written contract actually existed.
That's so bullshit.
That part is not bullshit.
No, I mean the ruling.
The statute of frauds is what she's referring to, and it requires certain contracts be memorialized in writing. The contracts that have to be memorialized in writing are contracts in consideration of marriage, so prenuptial agreements have to be written. Contracts that cannot be performed within 1 year, contracts for the transfer of an interest in land, and contracts for the sale of goods totaling $500 or more. Since this contract is for the value of $700,000, it would have had to have been written out and signed.
It does have legal merit there.
I'm upset though
Why are you upset?
because they lied.
Did they lie?
Yes.
Well, listen
They
to the
said if you get these points, you can get a fighter jet.
listen to the court's ruling and see if you still believe that. Okay. The
You
court
haven't
said
actually watched the commercial either. So I think watching the commercial might change your opinion.
the court said that the ad was obviously done in jest. The notion of traveling to school in a Harrier jet is an exaggerated adolescent fantasy. The callow youth featured in the commercial is a highly improbable pilot, one who could barely be trusted with the keys to his parents' car, much less the prized aircraft of the United States Marine Corps. The teenager's comment that flying a Harrier jet to school sure beats the bus evidences an improbably insouciant attitude towards the relative difficulty and danger of piloting a fighter plane in a residential area. Further, no school would provide landing space for a student's fighter jet or condone the disruption the jet's use would cause.
Okay.
Oh,
May I?
I have one last thing.
Okay.
In light of the Harrier jet's well-documented function in attacking and destroying surface and air targets, armed reconnaissance and air interdirection, and offensive and defensive anti-aircraft warfare, depiction of such a jet as a way to get to school in the morning is clearly not serious. Even if, as the plaintiff contends, the jet is capable of being acquired in a form that eliminates its potential for military use.
So they're saying because the commercials showed the jet being used as a way to get to school and not
It's
just
such a far-fetched, outrageous manner that the whole ad was far-fetched.
that's I'm still upset about it, if I'm honest with you.
I'm not.
So what? So do you see some of the stupid ass car commercials? I'm sorry. I don't buy like a Fiat and then a bunch of like hot women show up all over my Fiat. That's not how that works.
Yeah, and guess what? Guess what, Amanda? You couldn't sue Fiat because if you bought one and a bunch of hot women didn't show up.
Yeah.
Actually, there was a lawsuit. It was probably back in the 80s or 90s where there was a pickup truck and it was shown like going up a hill, like a really rocky, steep terrain, and it was, I don't know, a Ford F-150 or a Ram or whatever. And the company was actually sued because people purchased that truck and it wasn't able to do what the commercial showed. And I believe the people actually won the lawsuit on that one.
That one is different. That is an advertisement based off of a model. There's a in the uniform commercial code, and I couldn't cite the rule number, but if you are selling a product and you show a model of the product, which the ad is showing a model of the product, and then when you sell it to the public or a person and it cannot do what the model did, you're violating the UCC, which is a different thing. That's away from contract law.
I'm just saying when it comes to this, right? Obviously, I don't imagine that even if a 16-year-old kid had a pilot's license and everything, right?
Mhm.
The school isn't going to provide a landing pad. Plus, legally, I don't think like you can just fly an aircraft that low in like a civilian like neighborhood or something. Obviously not. The thing that bothers me is that they said you get the points, you can get the thing.
They said drink Pepsi, get stuff.
Correct. And therefore, I think where Amanda's going with this is theoretically,
don't show that stuff.
Well, theoretically, if you get like 40 points or whatever it said, you can get a baseball cap. If you get 400, you get a jacket. The way Pepsi is presenting this, it makes it sound like that no matter what you send in for, you're not going to get.
Yes, that's what bothers me.
Okay, what if I add this further little wrinkle into the case?
Oh,
Hit me.
I haven't.
Are you going to make me more upset?
I can't predict the future. I'm not a fucking psychic.
The answer's probably yes.
It is probably yes. When you send in for an item with your Pepsi points, Pepsi would send you a catalog of the items you could purchase with your Pepsi points and how much they cost. Nowhere in the catalog did the fighter jet appear.
But didn't they say you could get the fighter jet in the commercial for a disclosed amount, right?
They had 7 million points. But if you're watching a commercial, do you really expect, and then they show a kid flying a fighter jet, do you expect that you would be able to purchase a fighter jet?
Yes, if they said you can get it for these points, right? If they
I don't agree with that. It's a joke.
no. If they wouldn't have added for so many points, right? You could get a fighter jet.
You
Right.
need to look at the commercial.
Fine, I will watch the commercial. But let me what? Give me your phone.
We're gonna have Amanda watch the commercial right now.
Give me the thing.
It's right there.
All right.
We're gonna get a
Again,
live
I have
reaction.
to say, there was no asterisk saying this is a joke in the original commercial. There was no
Alright.
fine print. It
I
did
see
say
the shirt. I see the leather
700,000
jacket.
points.
I see the shades.
Yeah, do you like the
Right.
shirt? I think that's a pretty nice shirt. I'd get the
I
shirt.
like the leather. I like the leather jacket, if I'm honest.
And then
And I see they listed the shirt. They listed the thing. I still don't. The commercial did nothing. They listed the shirt. They listed the shades. They listed the jacket. Right. They listed the fighter jet. If they wouldn't have listed the fighter jet and still used the commercial, right? If they didn't add the points or whatever, right? Or if they had made it a car or whatever, and they could afford to do it, I wouldn't be mad. It's the fact that they put in
Amanda,
the points.
You should never, ever, ever become a lawyer. Never.
Amanda,
Never.
it's quite obviously a joke. Come on.
No. I think this is bullshit.
It is a joke, but legally,
And
there's
legally,
no
it's a
fine
joke.
print. No, originally there is no fine print saying otherwise.
Contract law states that anything over $500 in value needs to be a written contract. It is not a written contract anywhere. Therefore, it's bullshit, and it doesn't need it doesn't exist.
My question.
It is not a real contract.
My question is: was there anything in the catalog that totaled over 500?
But they weren't selling it
Beside-
for. I don't know about that. I don't think so. I think that's why they sold it for 10 cents a point to keep it at a low amount.
I still. They didn't have to add. I can see both sides here, right?
Leonard should have settled when he had the offer from Pepsi.
He should have, but I can see both sides. I think it's bullshit that they put the points on the fighter jet. I think that's bull. They shouldn't have done it. Right?
They did. The court called the ad. The court did use a legal term in describing the ad. They called it puffery.
What is they add a penguin? What?
Puffery is
Like a puff piece.
it's exactly, that's where puff piece does come from.
Mhm.
It's a term frequently used to denote exaggerations reasonably to be expected of the seller as to the degree of quality of his product, the truth or falsity of which cannot be precisely determined. Puffery is something that is an exaggeration or false praise. They called the ad puffery, and puffery does not give rise to legal liability. No, it's speech that no reasonable person would take seriously. Does that make you even angrier
Yes, I'm angry.
that they called it puffery?
Yeah.
So that's the contract claim gone. On appeal, the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Second Circuit affirmed the decision for substantially the same reasons that Judge Wood stated. But he did have a fraud claim as well. That one was dismissed because Pepsi never actually cashed the check. So they received no benefit from what occurred. But this did lead to a change in the ad itself. They continued to air the same ad, but changed the cost of the jet to 700 million Pepsi points and added a just kidding disclaimer to the commercial.
That's different. Right?
What do you mean that's different?
Yes, because now it's clearly a joke.
Right.
Later on, now remember, Leonard called the Pentagon, and they said that if you got rid of the armaments, then a company could sell you a Harrier jet. Later on, the Pentagon would go on to state that the Harrier jet could not be sold to civilians without demilitarization. They confirmed that yet again. But demilitarizing the Harrier jet would strip it of the ability to land and take off. So
This sounds like Pepsi covered their ass even,
That's
even
exactly
more.
what I was thinking. Who
with
paid
the
off
Pentagon.
Pentagon?
Who paid off? My God, you guys think
They
you would
sent
cover
Cindy Crawford to the Pentagon.
Yep, that's what happened. And Cyndi Lauper.
Really?
Yep.
You're just gonna throw her
Brittany
in.
too. Brittany was
Brittany
also
too.
there.
Britney
Pink.
Spears.
Pink was busy.
Brittany came. It's Britney, bitch, and then
And they were just like, we gotta.
it is Britney.
Whatever you need, Miss Spears.
So what happened to Leonard?
I don't know.
He's an attorney.
He's not an attorney. That'd be fucking great, wouldn't it?
That would be really funny. But no.
Leonard is now 40s.
Uh-huh.
He lives in Alaska with his wife and 2 kids, and he is a national park ranger.
That's kind of depressing.
Does he at least fly planes?
And the name of the episode comes back.
When he was asked about this, his reaction to everything in the workup to the release of the documentary, he said, "What I struggle with today is how can I have really thought that I was going to get that jet? I'm 48 years old now, and I'm now looking back on it like, what kind of dipshit were you?"
His frontal lobe was not fully formed.
So even Leonard thinks he was an idiot.
Nah, I respect him.
Yeah, mad respect.
Mhm.
Leonard and Hoffman, though, by the way, own the rights to the story. And when they've asked what they want to do with it, Hoffman has said he wants to make a movie out of this eventually.
Mm-hmm. Leo DiCaprio.
And Leonard has said he wants to, I don't know how this works. He wants to make a children's book out of the story.
I think middle grade would be better.
Middle grade. Nah.
Mhm.
You got to show off the little children, the Harrier jet landing, destroying property.
Jesus.
And there are people out there, I guess, like Hannah and Amanda,
Give this man his jet.
that believe and still believe that Leonard was hosed by a corporate friendly judge.
Yep. I don't know if I would say corporate friendly. I think this woman didn't have an imagination.
What do you mean? You can't have an imagine. You gotta use the law. You can't have an imagination. I was gonna ask you, but what do you guys think about the ruling? But I think I've gathered.
So now, doesn't it come down to the consideration part? Because in honesty, the consideration would be incredibly lopsided on Pepsi's side versus Leonard's side. Correct?
It is lopsided, but consideration as lopsided is not really the concern of the courts. If you make a bad deal and you did it with all your faculties, you made a bad deal. That's on you. Don't be stupid.
Intentionally making a deal either.
Now, consideration can't be there to occasionally the courts will step in with consideration if they believe that the consideration wasn't actually consideration, which is like, oh, you're trying to get around that requirement, so you sold your house for $1. Then the courts might be like, well, whoa, what are we doing here? But usually, even if it's a bad deal, they won't, as long as one party is giving up something in exchange for it, something else.
I hate this.
Why do you hate it?
Consideration.
Yeah, what's your
I'm
consideration?
upset.
Amanda, you go first.
No, go ahead. I just have to say I'm upset.
Okay. Well, here's a consideration. Who was this ad's target audience?
The Pepsi generation, Hannah.
The
Yep.
Pepsi generation. And how old was that? How old were those people?
How old were the Pepsi generation? Well, it depends
Mhm.
on which Pepsi generation you're talking about.
Well,
The
the one
one
this
that they
ad
were
is
targeting.
targeting.
Well, because the Pepsi generation was targeting a lot of different people. The Pepsi generation started in the fucking 1939. And then they had the new generation in 1984. And then
So
they
we're
had
going-
Generation Next in 1997.
So we're going from 84 to the 97s, realistically.
Yeah.
Trying to get these people to basically buy merch.
They were looking for a younger audience. That was the goal
They
of
were
the ad
looking
campaign.
for okay, correct. They were showing teenagers in this ad. So therefore you would assume the target audience is also teenagers, correct?
Yes.
Those frontal lobes are not formed. So of course they're going to think they can get the fighter jet.
I'm with Hannah on this one.
I would have never thought that I could get a fighter jet.
I
Not with
totally
that
get it.
attitude.
Yeah,
Not with that attitude.
yeah, I think it's bullshit.
It's bullshit.
I definitely think he should have settled, but also get that man a jet.
He should have settled. He would have gotten $750,000.
Yeah, I know. Stupid kid.
We just said we think he should have
We
settled,
all agree that he should have settled. Yes.
but doesn't mean I can't still be a little butthurt about this. And I am.
I'm impressed that Pepsi actually offered a settlement, to be quite honest.
They
Nah.
just didn't want to deal with a
They
lawsuit.
didn't want to, yeah.
A lot of the companies, like big companies, will have lawsuit budgets
Per year.
per year and just built in to their yearly budgets, and they'll be like, all right, we're gonna settle cases, people are gonna sue us, we're just gonna get rid of some of them. It's cheaper than paying lawyers because a lot of companies will have the in-house counsel, but the in-house counsel deals with the day-to-day stuff, and then if they get sued, they will have outside counsel for that, and that is expensive because the outside counsel a corporation is going to have ain't coming cheap. I'm talking like $700 an hour.
Why aren't you one of those lawyers, Frankie?
Why am I not one of those lawyers?
Yeah.
Because that would suck the soul right out of my body.
But money.
Yeah, but I don't think it's worth that much. My
Yeah,
soul.
but you know what? Your soul would get sucked out, but you know what would really help? A steam shower every night when you come home.
I don't need a steam
Amanda,
shower.
you had the perfect opportunity to say a fighter jet.
You did. You did. You had an opportunity for a joke and you missed it.
Sorry, steam showers sound really nice. Come on, Hannah, steam
They
shower.
do sound nice, but I'm really mad that you had the perfect opportunity for a fighter jet and you didn't
I'm
take it.
grieving.
This is a comedy podcast, Amanda.
I'm grieving.
She should have gone for the joke. I'm disappointed too. I can't believe I didn't.
It was right there. It was
This-
right there.
Yeah.
We all saw it.
We all felt it.
Grandmother's dead. Leave me alone.
And with all of that, missed jokes and missed opportunities and lost fighter jets, I
Steam
think
shower.
we should wrap this up.
Should we hint a little bit?
Why? I feel like
Our-
we should just come right out now.
It is the next episode. It's
It
tomorrow.
is coming out tomorrow.
So, yeah, I think we should just come right out and say it. Let me bring up the Google Doc, the actual Google Doc, so I can have a better explanation of what we're doing. We're starting a long-term project tomorrow on the show.
Real long term.
Hannah, if you want to give an explanation, but while I'm bringing that up.
Okay. We've hinted at what we are covering. We told you that what we're covering spans many, many generations in various animation forms, iterations, generations. It has some absolute bangers in every soundtrack it ever had. And it had a 10 out of 10. No, a 100 out of 10 good boy.
A 100 out of 10 good boy.
Yes.
Mhm.
What we're doing,
Can I say it?
you can say
Drum
it.
roll.
Drum-
Da-da-da-da-da-da.
Yeah.
It's Scooby Doo.
We're going to be reviewing all of Scooby-Doo.
Every
Literally all of it.
iteration.
Every iteration. What does that mean? We're going to start with the original Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? And what we're going to do from there is we're going to watch 2 episodes from each of the series. So we have Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? The new Scooby-Doo movies, the Scooby-Doo show, Scooby-Doo and Scrappy-Doo, the 13 Ghosts of Scooby-Doo.
Oh, I can't wait to get to that one.
Oh, I want to cover the Ghoul School.
And
Damn
in
it, I
those
wanted to go school.
in
Too bad.
those will be all of the movies as well. So Scooby-Doo meets the Booze Brothers. Pup Named Scooby-Doo, the series, will be in there as well.
Yeah.
Ghoul
Fuck yeah.
School, Reluctant Werewolf. We have some of the specials, like the Johnny Bravo Scooby-Doo episode.
Oh, that's so good.
The
You can have
We're
that.
Scooby-Doo
covering that one.
The Scooby-Doo Project, which is the Blair Witch Project with Scooby-Doo.
I love that.
Night of the Living Doo.
I don't know about that one.
That
Uh,
one's newer, I think.
it's from 2001.
Oh, okay.
The new movies that started with Scooby-Doo and the Legend of the Vampire in 2003.
Fuck yeah, I love that one.
You missed some iconic ones.
I know, but
Yeah, we're gonna cover
we all
Scooby-Doo
know
on Zombie
about
Island.
those. Scooby-Doo Mystery Incorporated, the 2010 show.
That one
Great
was
show.
pretty good too.
We've got some of the bad stuff like Shaggy and Scooby-Doo Get a Clue.
Oh no.
Be Cool Scooby-Doo.
Yeah.
We've
Isn't that
got
the one where Daphne had a puppet?
I don't remember.
I feel like I've only seen commercials. I feel like she had like a hand puppet.
We've got the Lego Scooby-Doo shorts.
Oh
Daphne
we
and
gonna-
Velma from 2018.
no.
Are we gonna
Are
be
we?
covering the Supernatural episode?
Sure
Yes,
are, Hannah.
Scooby-Doo.
We
Yes.
sure are. That is on the
Oh,
list.
good.
And if I'm
Good.
not leading that one, then there's no God in this world.
I think our peanut gallery should lead that one.
I love
And
that episode.
recently, a friend of mine, I'll give a shout out to her, Julie, sent me this, and I've watched it, and we should cover this as well. This is a newer thing. Scooby-Doo, Where Are You in Springtrapped, which is someone made an animation recently and it's themed like a Scooby-Doo Where Are You episode,
Mm-hmm.
and it is about
Five Nights at
Scooby
Freddy's.
and Shaggy, being chased down by Springtrap from Five Nights at Freddy's.
So, Be Cool Scooby-Doo, she actually has hand puppets of everybody. Velma and Fred and Scooby. She has all hand puppets.
I called it.
Well, we won't be talking about that one for a while.
That will be long out. So what we're doing with these episodes and the format for them, I'll explain this now and we'll probably explain it in tomorrow's episode as well, is I've done research on some of the background for all of these things. I will give the research and the production history and how the shows came to be and what the people were thinking when they created the shows. And then one of us will have claimed the series or movie or special and will detail the plot of it. So we'll look at the evolution of Scooby-Doo, how the shows stand up against each other, how the movies stand up against each other, and especially how the villains stand up against each other, because you got to have a good villain. You got to have a good monster of the week. And this will be our second, I guess, this is our first group big long-term project.
Yeah.
It's gonna go a lot quicker than Amanda's Disney project.
Yes, so
for sure.
tomorrow will be the first episode of the Scooby-Doo, which will cover 2 episodes from Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? The first ever episode, and then an episode from the final season of its original run. And then, after that, every 4th episode will be a continuation of this project.
You will get one episode from each of us, and then we'll come together for Scooby-Doo yet again.
And
Sounds
so,
good.
I'm excited. I'm excited to start this with you guys.
I can't wait to watch Scooby-Doo again.
Yes. And so, with that, let's take care of business.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll wrap up. Follow us over on Instagram, and that is at
Nothing to see here, pod. And as always, that is here, spelled H-E-A-R.
Remember to send us an email with any comments you have about our episodes, any ideas you have for a show that you'd like to see, any questions that you have for the 3 of us. And that email is
Nothing to see here, podcast at gmail.com.
remember to subscribe wherever you listen to this fine podcast, and leave us a review. 5 stars only.
Anything less than 5 stars addressed to Amanda in our Gmail. She will be reading all of your emails.
Amanda's the only one who wants to read anything less than 5-star reviews.
I don't know where that joke came from,
The
but
first episode. You made
Oh,
it.
I did, didn't I?
Peanut
sure
gallery
did.
is always funny.
Thank you, Peanut Gallery.
And it's gonna stay in every future episode.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Any other business to take care of? Oh, share this. I always forget. Share this with your friends and your family.
And your
Thanksgiving.
enemies.
And your enemies if you don't like it.
Share us with your enemies.
Leave it on
Or-
for your pets.
Or if
You
you
Get
do,
grandma to listen to it.
Grandparents will love the show. It's a grandparent friendly show.
Amanda swears too much.
Middle-aged people will love the show. They'll hear about things that happened in the 90s when they were adults and young adults and teenagers.
If you know a pregnant person, have their baby listen to this podcast.
It'll educate their baby. Their baby in the womb, they're going to be learning about pirates,
Scooby-Doo.
lawsuits, therapy, gay
Disney.
vampires.
Disney.
Yeah,
That one.
Disney.
That one's
We
actually for
did
babies.
actually forgot about that one.
animated dogs solving mysteries. The important things in life. Any plugs then at this juncture?
Well, if you somehow find me amusing, you can find more of my ramblings at www.readinghasruinedmylife.com. I write book reviews, I write listicles, I write book to movie reviews on the rare occasion. We have fun there.
And if you find me amusing and don't hate the sound of my voice, listen to my other podcast, The Pack Rats. If you want a less organized version of this podcast.
I don't have a life. I don't have any plugs.
No plugs from Amanda. With that being said, this has been the 6th episode of the Nothing to See Here podcast.
Our first week's almost over.
Yes, the launch week is almost over. Tomorrow will be our final episode, our final daily episode for launch week. After that, we will be releasing weekly episodes every Wednesday into your feed. So with that being said, goodbye. It is Frankie.
It's Hannah.
And I really want a fighter jet.
Same.
That would be Amanda.
Thank you, Peanut
And this
Gallery.
is the Peanut Gallery.
Bye.
Bye, guys.